Coach's Corner number 10, we've made it double digits. So today we're going to go over, we're going to go back on the floor and we're going to talk about knee pain. So we buy into these stories we've created. And these stories that we create, they stop us from ever getting to where we want to get to. So one of the stories may be, I've got knee pain. So I can't squat, I can't do the leg exercises. Since I can't do the leg exercises, I can't work out, and woe is me, and you get in this box, and you've created this frame and this story that you run in your head that you can't do this, and so since you can't do it, you just don't take any action at all. On the other side of that is we don't ever get in shape. We never fully get to experience life like we want to because we bought into a story that our knees bothering us. So what we want to do today is Coach Christian, Seth Humphrey, we're going to go over and we're going to lay out when a client comes in that think they have knee problems, what we're going to do with them when we first get them started, what we're going to do with them as far as the exercises go and how we'll progress that through, but then also how we'll have some active recovery in between so that we can be working on some of the weaknesses to help us be able to squat and stuff a little bit better as well. So I'll let Christian kind of lay out when a client first comes in, what is it that you're doing and what is it you're pointing them through there?
Yeah, so when they first come in, we want to see how your squat looks. A lot of times we're gonna start by lining you up against the box here, getting your feet just outside shoulder width. And then I'm going to ask the client to do a squat for me. One of the main things I see whenever they do a squat is they just immediately drop down, knees are going way over the toes, and from the get-go, they're automatically loading all that weight directly on the knees. So they're not using their hips, not using their glutes. You want to have all these muscles work together to put you in a good position there. So I'll get them set up in the right spot, have them open up their toes slightly to open up the hips, and then we're going to start by pushing your hips back slightly, keeping your chest up. So now I've loaded my glutes, I've loaded my quads, and I didn't drop and put all that pressure and all that weight on my knees there. So hips go back, chest stays up tall. You're going to sit into the box, stand up from there right out of the center of your foot, and squeeze your quads at the top. If they're still feeling pain from that motion there, then we can always grab these TRX straps, and this can kind of help give you a little bit of balance, still having a box behind your butt, so something still to aim your butt at and sit into. So hold these straps, not putting all your body weight on the straps, but using it as a safety precaution to keep your chest up tall. This gives people a little bit more trust rather than just dropping all their body weight into it and then standing up and squeezing their legs from there. But still pushing hips back, still loading our legs the way we're supposed to and not dropping all that weight on our legs.
That's going to be the very basic. So when you have clients coming in, we just showing them the proper way of doing it. So once they see that, like, okay, well I actually have to push my hips back and sit into it and go from there. So that box being there helps out a lot from there. Now, if someone can't sit into a squat properly, it's usually because of hips, ankles. They have ankle mobility from maybe having sprained an ankle in the past or whatever, or hips, sitting at a desk all day long and then not moving as much. If I asked you and I said, hey, I'm going to put you in a box all day long, and in that box you're just going to sit there, you'd be like, heck no, I'm not sitting in a box all day long. You're crazy. What am I sitting in? I'm sitting in a box right here. And so, like, what this is doing is the more we sit and the more we're not standing up like we're created to do, and the more we're sitting down, the more that we lose flexibility and mobility in our hips. And so what we're really focused on is, okay, what are some easy ways that I can start to work on and get some active recovery? So with Christian was having the clients start working on the squats, in between those squat sessions, we can come over, because a lot of people wouldn't be able to go just flat. At an angle, we can start to sit here and start to kind of get a flex in that hip. We can start to lean over, stretch. We could do that.
Yep. Also, yep, just kind of build up some strength in your hamstrings as well. So stepping into this band, feet are going to be about shoulder width. We're going to bring the band right over onto your trap muscles, hands on the band. That way you're keeping your shoulders tucked back. Slight bend in the knee, pushing your hips back to the wall, letting your chest fall forward. Nice straight line from your head down to your tailbone, and then squeezing your glutes at the top. So controlling that motion on the way down. A lot of times to help with our knee, we need to build strength in those areas. What Seth was saying with your hips, stretching it this way, doing some ankle stretches, a lot of times the pain that you feel in your knee is not because you actually have injured your knee. A lot of it is just our hips are not mobile, our ankles are not mobile, so our knee tries to overcompensate and take a lot of that load, because our knee, it moves forward and it moves backwards. So we can do that while our hips move left to right, forward, backwards. So if your hips aren't able to move all around that way, what's going to happen is this is a chain here. Everything's linked together. So if we can't move freely in these two areas, what's going to take the root of that pain is your knee, because it's not meant to move that way. So that's where a lot of that pain is going to come from, is you're not mobile in your ankles and in your hips and in your glutes.
So then when we're looking at ankle mobility, it may be something that if there's a wall here, we'll just use this box right now, but if there's a wall here and I lean into and I can touch my knee, can touch that box, then I'll scoot back a little bit, and we're not forcing anything. We're just working on mobility, and now I'm getting a good stretch ankle and my Achilles, and then I'm back up. Same thing here. Lean into. Okay, I got that. I'm gonna move back a little bit. All right, now it's pushing me a little bit. Now I can just kind of ease into it. Maybe do that 10 to 15 times in between as you're doing your squats. Now, someone has gotten the box squat down. They're rocking and rolling the box squat. They've got the TRX squat. They don't need any help anymore. What direction are you pointing them after that?
From there, we'll go more into a goblet squat. So we'll grab a single dumbbell. We're going to hold this dumbbell at our chest so we can start to load, add a little weight to it. That way we can really start building up our quads, building up our glutes, and that's going to build even more support around the knee. So same position, still up against the box here, holding the weight right at the center of your chest, and then just still working on that same exact motion, but we're keeping our core engaged as we go down, and then exhaling and breathing out at the top. Once you progress off of that, we can continue to progress you, move away from the box. So now there's nothing. Now you know where to aim your hips already because you practiced over and over repetition with that box. So now you're freely moving, nothing behind you. With that box, it has told you to go down to 90 degrees. So now you know where to stop. So you've practiced that, and now you can start to load some weight with it and build some strength around it from there.
Yeah, so our clients are different. From there, we can start to kind of progress up. So then with that, that's just a goblet squat, it's a single goblet. If we wanted to, we could go in, or say goblet, that's a dumbbell, but we would use kettlebells to move forward. So from there, everything that we're doing, we go from box squat to bodyweight squat to a goblet squat to a double goblet squat. So now once our clients can get to a certain point as far as with a single kettlebell, we can start adding 2 kettlebells to add more weight. Once they start getting that done, we can start going into a front squat. So now they're holding the bar and they're doing the squat with the bar. Then potentially going to a back squat, but not every client with back issues and things like that will ever do a back squat. So we have options as far as that stuff goes. We also have a leg extension machine, hamstring curl machines that we can do. We've got a lot of different options. What is different between the Vitality Mill and a big gym though is we're not using a lot of machines for your workouts. We're using your body as the machine. And what starts to happen here is the average person who is not doing anything right now can start doing some resistance training with just body weight squats. And then once they get that stuff, body weight down, then we can start increasing the weight. And then that's how you aesthetically start to change, is by starting to add more weight and progress. I see people like Ramona, like clients that are coming in that like when they first started with us, you would never have thought that they would be able to do the things they do. But the reason why they're able to do that is just progressing it. Okay, well, you're stuck right here. We'll stay there until we work through it. Progress, and then we can get results. It doesn't matter what kind of injuries or limitations you have. That's what makes us professionals. That's what makes us the best, straight up, in Yukon and in the surrounding areas. Just because we care, but we're going to point you in the right direction. We're just not trying to push you in and get as many people in as possible. It's not what it's about to us. It's about building a relationship, making sure that we're pointing them in the right direction, and making sure that they're getting results that way. So you have anything else you want to add as far as that stuff goes?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is we're going to do it the right way, and we're not going to try to fast track you and rush you through anything that you're not ready for. So even if you can't, you're probably watching this video getting a little bit discouraged, saying, well, what if I can't get that knee bend and that knee flexion even with the TRX? We have sleds, we have leg extensions, we have other ways. We can do kettlebell marches. I mean, there's so many ways that we know how to target those muscles.
We could do hill elevated squats if you don't have range of
bad
motion
ankle
in your
mobility.
Ankle mobility. So,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're going to take care of you from the start, not try to fast track you through it until you're ready for it. And then we love to progress. So as you progress, we'll guide you in that direction and get you going.
Yeah, your mind's the happiest when it's seeing progress, but you have to show it progress. And so if you don't ever get started, then you're never going to see progress. You're just going to sit there in your own head and talk about how you wish you would have and you wish you could have. Or you could just reach out and say, hey, I want to come in for 30 days. I want to see what it is that you guys have to offer and see if it's for me. If it is, then man, on the other side of that, it's crazy. If it's not, then we'll figure it out. We'll give your money back or do whatever. But we're pretty confident that you won't want to go anywhere. So Seth Humphrey for Coach Christian. Have a fantastic weekend. If you have any questions, then don't hesitate to comment below and we'll point you in the right direction. Talk soon.